it's your mom, Rom. You gotta get out and do something with your life.
I know. I'll do it this afternoon.
But it's 5 p.m.
Yeah, tomorrow afternoon.
Oh, you're hopeless, utterly hopeless. I always had hope you would one day talk and do something great, even though you could never talk since you were born. I can read your mind because I'm your mother. I'm the only one you have in this world, son, since your dad died at Black Mesa. But I always had hope on you, son, but now I'm losing hope. Just hope that you will get out of bed and one day learn to talk and do something with your life. I'll make you proud one day, Father.
He must be one of those Freemans. He's kind of crazy and his words don't work right.
Wow, what an idiot. He can't even talk.
I wonder if he can even hear us.
Let's get out of here.
Whoa. Oh, see? The water's jumping on you. Yes, I see a real sailor in this one. A heart for the seas he has. Here now, take this. It's been saved for just such an occasion. There now, Sonny, go down to the docks and set sail for a new dream.
I'm going to find out if I'm really alive.
Today on the Taco Boat with Mike Rom, we are talking about the constitution of individuals. We're talking about the constitution of organizations. In fact, we're talking about the constitution, period. What is a constitution? All right. Constitution of individuals is a quality of people that consists of resilience, courage. It's kind of like porridge. Food for the soul is a courage and a will, conscientiousness. It's the fabric of the soul, your constitution. That's an interesting perspective. So perhaps one day people will assume the responsibility of constituting their own republic. We can maintain a democracy, but instead go beyond that. We can strengthen it by allowing diversity in thought and policy. The best nation is no nation at all, but a collective of miniature self-declared communities which can experiment with different ways of life within, of course, the bounds of morality. One nation under God, for the whole world, perhaps. But what does this mean? Or how does that differ from one world government run by people, fallible people? The difference is the political sovereignty is not held at a national level, but instead at an individual level. Individuals constitute their own domain, post their sovereign constitution and policies for others to willfully engage or not engage with, and we can then source that data also and compile our city, state, and national policies based on the constituents' policies. So essentially a direct version of democracy that's more in line with, well, A, the core principles of what our society tries to get at, but B, the concept that, well, we actually have computers, so now with the information transfer we can source people's thoughts on policy much more effectively than we could, say, when our current political systems were developed. So we could potentially use then a decentralized crypto blockchain co-op model, where we start to move into the future with platforms of political discourse and polling that you can delegate your opinion to somebody else that you respect, just like our current representative model, but you could also then just take that power back and say, you know what, I'm going to have my own opinion on this. The advancement being not only that we would crowdsource better policy solutions faster, but also that individuals would be able to withdraw from bunk policy faster. These advancements go well together. We have that option now due to consent of the governed, and we are obliged to take it. You could then raise in your popularity based on that because you just had a great opinion on that, so you could become an expert in, dog care policy because you really love your dog, but maybe you're not really great on other policies, so you delegate those policies off to somebody else. But you rise up to become the dog policy superstar because you just really care about dogs and you've just thought this stuff through a lot. So that would be the power of, I think, community sourcing of policy, which is the intention of our current political system anyways. And we've seen such things happen already, this progress, this evolution towards that. But I've seen it, I guess, the most in games, when game companies would build a game and then say, okay, community, you build mods for it, and then the community would just make the most incredible mods that then become the actual game or outplay the actual game. Okay, let's just source the content from the crowd. Because so this idea of allowing individuals to own their God-given political responsibilities or their political sovereignty is not anything new, but it's how we act in a family. The husband and wife are king and queen before God in their home, and their children are subjects to them. And that's only because then children are not able to make competent decisions yet. But hopefully the parents are somewhat benevolent dictators, of course. And this is the smallest possible power structure as well. So that's why, I think about that as where the political sovereignty should be, in the man and the woman, because they're choosing to be together, and their rules collectively negotiated together is what makes the rules of the household. So therefore, if they posted their rules as a sovereign little domain, then there is individuals, they break it down to even their own individual constitution of like, what are the policies for the domain that is the physical land that we all individually own, which is our body. But that's another rabbit hole we could go down another day, and I'll full speed the taco boat down it so we can just kind of like smash into it. But yeah, so continuing, the husband and wife are king and queen before God in their home, and their children are subjects to them. Of course, benevolent parent part, this is the smallest part. And we are not children in the state's house. So this is kind of the crux of my argument here. We're not supposed to be children in the state's house. And that's, I think, the moral fallacy that I see a lot of people who just completely blindly submit to the state are making right now. So we're not children in the state's house, but we're children in God's house. And we're actually commanded by the Lord not to become children of another living being, but only to reserve that Lord-servant relationship with God himself, that we take responsibility for our lives and not another human being.
Bonus fact.
The second you see yourself as spiritually put together or somehow more disciplined and therefore stronger spiritually than others is the second you know you are not in fact spiritually mature whatsoever and need to re-engage with humility and humanity. In the past, there would have been clear triggers to constitute a governing body, and these would have typically been foreign invasion, being the foreign invader, or other types of crime. Essentially, whenever political ties are restricting the ability for individuals to pursue life and liberty and become fully responsible for their lives. Today, I think the triggers are much more subversive. They're not absent, but they're just subversive. They're covert, if you will. It's much more like dealing with mental abuse from the state than a physical abuse. I think it's safe to say that I'd much rather be a subject to physical abuse, because then it's obvious, it's clearly visible, and those who are close with you are on your side. While in mentally abusive situations, those you love often can end up on the side of the abuser. And this is by the nature of the subversion, not necessarily a lack of love from those close by. Although you definitely could make the case for that, being a lack of love of those who are close to you. Close. The current political system is based off a time when technology was completely archaic compared to how it is today. And it wouldn't surprise me that by keeping a political system based on such archaic technology, that we would somehow end up back in a time when only that archaic technology exists again. The ultimate duty and ultimate purpose in life is to see somebody in everybody, to allow any individual we encounter to be worthy of our intention, our love. When I think, what should we do? I think, be peaceful. Can we be peaceful? Can we learn self-mastery where peace lies in the center of our hearts, covered by our own insecurities, our own self-rejection and guilt and shame? Can we release that garbage and be peaceful and be able to negotiate and be able to see things from other people's side? Through self-mastery, I think it is possible. Through delving deep within our soul, I think we will find these answers. Can we meet within our highest collective needs to serve each other through self-actualization, to self-actualize through serving each other? Can we quiet up to the highest meeting place of our minds and really ask the toughest questions? What are we made of?
Yeah, you grew a beard. Yeah, it's like a thing that you did. You know, you pushed the right combination. Like, beep, boop, beep, 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 boop, beep, 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 boop, beep, beep, beep. And then, le beard.
I think that's how it happened in the instruction manual. A historic way, a monumental way. The way, he's Jesus.
Happily ever after.